Welcome to Project Artemis. It is here. This is the early access of the Unreal project that the GameDevSG community is releasing for you all to work on. It's really about people being able to help each other and keep each other on track and really focusing. I think a big component of this is that it is a working game and it does look good, but it needs some help to sort of get to the rest of the way. And that's sort of why I chose it and why I have been working on it so that you could have a good base, but it still needs some work. This gives us a good basis to build our own portfolios on top of. So you have a working game that you can actually add some game design to, or you can do some VFX. So that is something you could work on. The animation that the characters weren't doing shifting weight when they were starting and stopping. The jump what is a little janky, like things like that. Like they're all across the board. This map's okay, but it could be improved. I've just sort of got a baseline here. Let me just play it for you. And we have some weapons to choose from. I'm just going to go with my just normal machine gun deploy. And you can see we have a fully functioning character. You can crouch, you can aim down sights, and there's things that need to be cleaned up and all that fun stuff. And I can't shoot worth a crap. But you get a sense on the gameplay there. They have everything. There's everything here: AI, animations, blueprints, characters. It's all there. You can either look through it this way, or what I like to do is I like to select the folder that I'm looking for, or just all of the folders, and just type in what you want, or do the filter. So like if I'm looking for a player character, I'll just type in player, and everything player related will come up. There's a player controller, which is usually like how the player is controlled. There might be some stuff in there that I need to change if I'm trying to figure out like a way to make them slide or do some new fancy thing. But that'll be something I'll go into more at a later time. Go back to our content drawer. You can see there's BP player character. So most assets in Unreal are blueprints. I mean, you have your actual assets like your skeletons and VFX and stuff, but everything outside of those actual assets are blueprints. So blueprints are how all those assets interact with the C++ deep code. You don't see C++ inside the engine. You go outside, you go into Visual Studio for that. But blueprints was what I like working in, is how a lot of stuff comes together. It's just a visual scripting language. There's functions on the side here, which are different. They're kind of more blueprints. Like, so you have the main event graph, which is like most of the events, and then it looks like they have multiple different graphs going on. This is a pretty complex. They have a health system here. When the player's dead, they just have like a simple thing here to make them go into ragdoll and whatnot. Components are essentially these, the top here. Components are the I guess parts of a blueprint, like actual like assets. So you have your spring arm and your camera in here. Let's go to the view for it. Your camera is in here. This little mini guy on this shoulder is actually the first person guy, which is kind of funny. But yeah, so I still have the first person guy in there, but he's hidden during gameplay. Your mesh is here. You have all these other systems below, which are character movement. This is how you mess with all the character movement variables that exist. And they just add functionality to the blueprint that might exist outside of this blueprint, essentially. Like, this is how this blueprint communicates and adds functionality through these different components, essentially. So you have your variables down here, which like right here it has like how fast the gun blends in and out when it does the recoil shot. There is character info here, like should the character run? Like, can they run? Should they be able to shoot? Like, and then code and blueprints and everything sets these variables, and those variables kind of like make the character behave certain ways. What you'll do is like, oh, like this impulse isn't enough. Like 5,000 isn't making the character go far enough. Maybe it needs to be 10,000. Okay, great. And then before you can even see those changes, usually Unreal is pretty nice compiling for you, but you do the compile up here. If you see the little question mark, it turns into a green check mark. All right, now my changes are good to go. Let's test it. So now when we die or someone dies, they should fly twice as far as they did before, since we doubled it. At least that's the thinking. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. So he went all the way against the wall. It was hard to tell there, but you get the idea. Another thing about blueprints that is helpful, very helpful, is that you can have child blueprints. So you'll have the base blueprint, which is the one that holds most of the logic. This is the weapon blueprint for most logic. I had to come in here and fix how they're doing aiming for the third person because it wasn't really working correctly. So I had to make it so they're doing the line tracing a certain way. So that's how I did that. But that automatically works for all the weapons now because I did it on the parent blueprint, and then it propagates to all of the blueprints. Excuse me. So like for the pistol now, and like right now, you'll see this happen too every once in a while where you don't see the regular blueprint view because it's just using the parent blueprint and then you're just changing values. But you can also, if you say open full blueprint editor, you can, if you want, add more logic based on just for the pistol, if you want. You don't have to just use those values. You can actually add more logic in if you want. That'll happen from time to time, especially if you're making a new weapon, something cool and different. So, say I want to work on a new map or a different mode. You can try to look for it. Like here's maps. There's just this main map here, which isn't really tell you much. Really, what you want to do is go into FPS, maps, sublevels. Nope, not in sublevels there. Game modes. So I've opened up Conquest, which is sort of like capture the flag. You sort of have to just maintain your your position on these bases, and you get points. Yeah, say you want to make this a new level. Oh yeah, I definitely want to artify this level, make it a new level. The best way to go about that is through the window levels. So we have two levels here. They have a spawn level and an environment level. What I would suggest is making a new level here and leaving this environment. You can hide it. You can always hide it. Say I just hit it there. And making a whole new level. Or, I mean, you could just edit this one specifically, but then it might be hard to get back certain changes, and you never know. And sometimes you want to see this template. Anyways, it's up to you how you work, but don't just start putting stuff in the persistent level. That's a bad idea because this environment's used for other modes. So yeah, don't just start changing because then you might mess up other modes. Just add a new one to it just for Conquest. Or just for Rush. I don't even know what Rush is. There's Search and Destroy, Team Deathmatch. They have a whole, but they do have Capture the Flag here. So, but a lot of these use the same demo map. So, if you want to create a new level and just do a whole new level design, definitely make a new level for that and add it to that levels window. If you're looking for UI, you can go to the UI folder under GameDevSG, and you're gonna see a bunch of folders and different things. And you're like, I don't know, kind of what I'm doing or where to go. Usually the best way to look for a UI, in this project particularly, I found is to type in WB, and it stands for Widget Blueprint, I believe. If you want to change the main UI of the game. And there's UI elements here you can adjust things on and change and add. They're all on the side here, all these little elements. And then there's also blueprints inside of the widgets. So these blueprints are how code works with the UI, essentially, how you tell code to work with the UI. And so that's just a little, a very quick thing. There's variables here, and you can actually hook those variables into the UI elements themselves. If you tell it, say, is variable up here, on an element, it will expose that in here to start changing in these graphs, essentially. So that's, a quick little intro into how you could get to the UI and start changing it. So here's the effects under GameDevSG effects. These need a lot of work on this project. They're using the legacy particles, which are the Cascade particles. We need them to be Niagara particles. So that's something I'm definitely going to put up for people to do, is get us switched over in this project to Niagara particles that look better. Obviously, this project is pretty impressive overall, but they did not work a whole lot on the VFX um, part of it. Niagara particles are better because they use GPU and not just CPU. The legacy particles use CPU, and that's like the biggest bottleneck. You don't want your particles on your CPU, really. Um, so yeah, you want certain things on CPU, but not everything. Anyways, uh, Niagara is just a much better way to do that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's the VFX. Now we have our characters. Here we're using this sci-fi guy that I downloaded. Um, where's the full? He actually has parts. Here, let me see this. Oh yeah, He has. You can swap out his shoes and his helmet and his main body essentially. But I have it set right now, so it's just his full body. But if somebody wanted to, they could be like, oh, like I want to make so you can like customize the shoes and the helmet. And they have different materials here that you can swap in and out. I'm just not using them right now, but if somebody wanted to make that system, they could. Or if you want to make a new character or bring a new character in from another project that is either from that you've made or is from the Epic Marketplace, you could do that. If it's different proportions, you'll have to set up the retarget manager, which is something we'll get into as a challenge. There's a lot of things you can do there if you're like on the character side. There's sound, audio here. For anybody that is interested in audio, of course, they have all the audio cues, which are Unreal's blueprints for audio, which they're okay. Unreal 5 has a new audio system, so it would be really cool to see if we could implement, the audio folks could implement Epic's new audio system, which is, what is it called? Metasounds? Maybe, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, there is new audio, and you should definitely check that out. On the animation side, we have our TPP, which is third person player. And there's animation layers. So you have your main animation blueprint, and then a layer gets layered on based on what weapon you're holding, essentially. So it's just a whole new blueprint. Right now, I don't think they have a whole lot. Like, they're just using the layers to literally just swap out animations right now. But if you wanted, you can add new logic into your animation layer when it gets swapped on that like changes something about the character, like the way they're, it's just nice to have that control, to have new blueprint logic based on that weapon they're holding. Yeah, it also saves you time. Like, I think that I wouldn't do it this with the way they're doing this. I wouldn't do it this way, to be honest. I would, instead of swapping out all the animations, I would have like a shotgun pose that just gets layered onto the current logic, instead of like having a new animation for every single thing. Like, it's just one pose that changes the pose of the whole character, and then it's still doing some of the same animation. And then you just work from there. But anyways, that is something you could do. You could tackle something like that, new blueprint logic for certain weapons to make it feel better. When a character's holding a shotgun, maybe they like start crouching down a little bit lower, and they're just behaving a little bit different than if they were just holding like an AK or a sniper rifle or whatever. Like right now, I think the characters all just sort of walk a little similar based, they don't change a whole lot. So the AI in this project, AI in Unreal is handled through these behavior trees and various AI assets, blueprints and stuff. The AI in this particular game definitely needs some work. It like just barely works basically, but it works. They run around and do whatever. So yeah, there's like these little behavior trees that you can edit, and I don't want to break anything right now, but but yeah, so that's essentially how the AI works. And this would be a good place to start looking into, to really add it so that the characters, the enemies like do a little bit more than just walking and like standing and shoot. Like, they maybe start making them crouch and lean around corners and um try to take cover if you're getting shot at, like stuff like instead of just standing there, like stuff like that. Yeah, so that is that would be an important part to tackle as well. So I'm very excited about this project. Thank you guys for being involved, and I can't wait to see you there at the Discord. Thank you.